Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline 27th of April 2024. This week's headlines. Unusually, there's a lot of American Global Atheist news this week. Protests, which began at Columbia University in New York City last week, have spread to dozens of college campuses across the USA. Arizona takes a major step forward towards repealing the near-total abortion ban from 1864. President Biden sparks Christian groups' anger after making a sign of the cross at an abortion rally. In the UK, faith school takeover proceeds despite overwhelming opposition. In New Zealand, Māori atheists say the Christian colonization helped to push them away from Christianity. And Atheism UK announces a London event. The news in detail. Protests, which began at Columbia University in New York City last week, have spread to dozens of college campuses across the country, including Northwestern near Chicago, the University of Michigan, the University of California, Berkeley, and others. Here's a recap of the key developments. In Syracuse, New York, President Biden was greeted by around 100 protesters with signs reading "Genocide Joe" and other slogans as he attended an official event. More than 200 arrests were made on Wednesday at Emerson College in Boston, and also at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles and the University of Texas in Austin. That's a total of more than 200. Atlanta police said a protest group at Emory University included both students and non-students and was ordered to disperse, but refused. Police said chemical sprays were used, but denied earlier suggestions that rubber bullets were fired. USC cancelled its main commencement ceremony scheduled for the 10th of May, citing new security measures. The leader of the House of Representatives was heckled in a tense visit to Columbia University. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said Columbia officials had lost control of the situation. At Columbia, pro-Palestinian demonstrators called for Ms. Shafiq's resignation over police action. Mr. Johnson held a news conference at Columbia along with other Republican lawmakers on Wednesday afternoon after briefly meeting Ms. Shafiq, the head of the university. The House Speaker dismissed suggestions that the protests were legally protected free speech. He said that Columbia had not acted to restore order on the campus and had failed to protect Jewish students amid concerns about anti-Semitism on and around the campus. Some protesters at Columbia tried to burn an Israeli flag. They hit and shoved a brave Jewish student that tried to stop them. See this video.
Keep moving.
"This is dangerous," Mr. Johnson said. "We respect free speech. We respect diversity of ideas. But there is a way to do that in a lawful manner, and that's not what this is. My message to the students inside the encampment is to go back to class and stop the nonsense," he said. See this video.
What are these guys doing?
Yes. I just saw police use unnecessary violence for peaceful protesters. I saw police knock students to the ground. Clearly you see a bunch of arrests going on.
Columbia University revoked access to the campus for Jewish professor Shai Davidai. They are afraid of him being attacked by the violent protesters that have set up a tent city and are now occupying the university. An attack would be bad publicity. See another video. The Arizona House of Representatives has voted to repeal a 160-year-old law banning abortion. This is a major victory for the Democrat-led effort to take the law off the books. Republicans had thwarted two earlier attempts to vote on ending the law, which bans abortions from conception, without exceptions for rape or incest. 3 members of the party, though, broke ranks with the Republican mainstream on Wednesday to vote for a repeal in the narrowly divided House. The repeal effort will now go to the Senate, with a good chance of passing. Earlier this month, the state's Supreme Court had resurrected the 1864 law, unleashing an outcry across the country where voters broadly support abortion access. Last week, 2 Republican senators voted to advance a similar bill. That suggests there is enough Republican support in the Senate to get the repeal through. Arizona's Governor Kate Hobbs, a Democrat, has indicated she will sign the bill if it reaches her desk. With the ban scheduled to go back into effect in June, lawmakers who oppose it are under deadline pressure. "The people of Arizona are waiting for us to get this done," said House Representative Stephanie Stahl Hamilton, who introduced the one-sentence repeal bill. The ban also created a political dilemma for Republicans staring down general elections in November, for whom abortion has been a losing issue since the US Supreme Court overturned the nationwide ban to abortion in 2022. Some Republicans, such as former President Donald Trump, have distanced themselves from the ban and called for compromise. President Biden sparked outrage on Tuesday when he made the sign of the cross while rallying against abortion restrictions. Biden made the ostensibly pious gesture in Tampa, while Florida Democratic Party Chairwoman Nikki Fried complained that government Ron DeSantis and the state's tightening 6-week ban on abortion. She complained about it. We come back here to the state of Florida, where Ron DeSantis felt like he needed to run for president, so 15 weeks wasn't good enough, she said. We had to go to 6 weeks. As Fried spoke, Biden motioned the cross by touching his forehead, chest, and shoulders in the traditional formula. The sign of the cross is an ancient expression of piety that has existed since at least the 3rd century and is commonly used by Catholic and Orthodox churches as a form of blessing. Biden's use of the sign of the cross in support of abortion is a disgusting insult towards all Christians, but especially of Catholics whom he claims as his own. Brian Birch, president of Catholic Vote, told Fox News Digital on Wednesday. The sign of the cross is a sacred gesture used by believers to bless themselves, ask for forgiveness, or to protect them from temptation. Instead, Biden has turned this ancient Christian practice into an endorsement of abortion extremism. Biden has leaned into his identity as a Catholic in his presidential campaigns, asserting himself as a devout believer, despite blatant disregard for non-negotiable church teachings. Last week, a bishop in Michigan accused Biden of stupidity regarding the dissonance between his religion and politics. I don't have any anger towards the president. I feel sorry for him. I'm not angry at him. He's just stupid, said Bishop Robert Grass of the Diocese of Saginaw. It's not stupidity in a derogatory way. It's stupidity in the sense of he doesn't understand the Catholic faith. School governors in Southwark, London, are pushing ahead with plans to merge a non-religious school into a local Church of England school, despite overwhelming local opposition. The proposals would merge Charlotte Sharman Primary School, which has no religious character, with St Jude's Church of England Primary School. The resulting school would be a voluntary aided Church of England faith school. The local diocese is understood to have demanded that the new school should adopt St Jude's religious character, even though Charlotte Sharman is the larger of the two schools and has a higher percentage of places filled. The extent of the opposition to the new school being a faith school was revealed in a draft report on the consultation, but these findings were concealed in the final published version of the report. Voluntary aided faith schools can select 100% of their pupils based on religion if they are oversubscribed. They can also use a religious test in appointing, promoting, disciplining, and setting the salary of any teacher. Most governors of VA schools are foundation governors appointed to represent the religious body. Parents, children, governors and staff at the two schools were asked their views on the merger in a consultation, the results of which were published as a full proposal last week. Nearly 3/4 of respondents opposed the planned merger. In New Zealand, more than half of the Māori population have no religious affiliation, according to the 2018 census. That was a huge leap from the 36.5% of Māori who said the same thing in 2006, and whose numbers came at the expense of Christianity, which dropped from 46.2% to 29.9% over the same time frame. Researchers have just published a paper investigating this in New Zealand Journal of Social Sciences online. What they found is that Māori have very different reasons for walking away from religion. In many cases, religion is embedded in the culture, which means that walking away from religion can be interpreted as walking away from Māori identity. At the same time, however, there are people who believe that ditching the religion of their Christian colonizers will give them a better opportunity to explore their ancestral heritage. Christianity was seen by some as a foreign religion and therefore not as welcoming. They brought up religious hypocrisy, faith-based bigotry, and the patriarchal nature of Christianity. They also mentioned having general religious doubts. But they called out how Christianity's claim to exclusivity usually involved demeaning their native culture. Christians view indigenous beliefs as not merely incorrect, but evil or satanic. So, for them, being pro-Christian implies being anti-Māori. In London, UK, there is an event coming up on May the 25th that's staged by the Origins Project and Atheism UK. This is the second annual event going under the title of Changing Minds in Changing Times. See this video.
Because it's normal now. There are people who leave Islam, and we are ex-Muslims. We don't want to associate with it anymore, and it's a very real phenomenon.
An anniversary, if you will, of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And of course, this is a man who said, and rightfully so, that we shouldn't be judging people by really anything but the content of their character.
In India, there is only one movement which is known as the rationalist movement, which includes all these different shades of the movement. So we call it rationalist. We have a British tradition.
So I guess you wouldn't want me to promote you as a ghost busting service. You know, you don't really want your name to be up there under who you're going to call.
I do get introduced that way quite a lot, and I can cope with it. You know,
what is reasonably certain in the future is that everything we now see will be gone. Namely, that's
this is not tomorrow, though, is it?
It's not tomorrow. No, in fact, we're talking about a time frame which is far longer than the life age of our sun, but that's a long time. That's 5 billion years in the future, and I've made this joke many times because it's about some person like me talking about this, and someone in the audience puts up their hands and says, "Did you say 5 million years?" And the speaker says, "Oh, no, 5 billion years." The guy goes, "True."
Following this news, Tercia and I are going to chat with guest Brian Montford in Free Thought Hour. Brian used to play for the church band, but then life took different turns and he's now one of our regular viewers. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.